You're listening to the Cars of Carlisle Network, podcast episode number 134, featuring Thoughts of Gratitude.
Cars of Carlisle is your favorite internationally downloaded podcast about all things automotive. Darren and his CFC team are ever searching for interesting automotive happenings, real stories about real car people, and fun features to inform and entertain you. Each week, the Cars of Carlisle crew brings you show topics ranging from car shows to team adventures to auto racing weekends to behind-the-scenes human interest stories from car nuts that live across town, across the country, or even across the globe. Come join the road trip.
Hello and welcome back, Tubers, to your favorite informative automotive podcast. I am your trusted host, Darren. As always, it is an honor to have you back with us again this week. We're just going to be talking about gratitude, and with me today in Studio A is the lovely Miss J, and she steers me right and holds my heart.
Aw, that's sweet.
Remember, this is your podcast. Together, it's all about car community and car culture. We realize that the concept of Thanksgiving is pretty much limited to Americans, and for all of our global friends that are listening, we want to thank you at least for bearing along and coming along with us. But really, no matter where you live in the world, I think it's good to take time to reflect and be grateful for what we all have in life, and I think that's never more important than around the holidays and this time of year. So I don't know what you think on that, Miss J.
Well, certainly. I think that even though Thanksgiving is a United States centralized holiday, it is certainly a universal type of a theme, and we can all relate to things for which we can be grateful.
No, that's a very good point. I think that that flows really well into, I had even debated whether or not to have a trivia question at all for this week, but for those that are listening in Europe or in Latin America, obviously let's do a trivia question that maybe even fellow Americans didn't know the answer to, and that is, if you had to guess, Thanksgiving is a federal holiday here in the U.S. It's celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November every year, but it wasn't always that way. It's come to be known as American Thanksgiving, especially outside of the States. Canada has a holiday of the same name. But everyone knows it goes back to about 1621 and what have you. But my question to all of you, and Miss J, let's see if you're aware, up until this time or this year that I'm about to share with you as the answer, it was Thanksgiving wasn't really consistently celebrated at the same time. But in this to be filled in year, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was president at the time, put into place through an act of Congress a permanent observation date, which, as I mentioned, is the fourth Thursday of November of each year. What was that year? Any guess on that one, Miss J?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to guess, I know he was president in the 40s, so I'm going to go 1940. Final answer.
Okay, well, that's excellent. Very close. You were only 2 years off, and that's not so bad at all. 1942 was the correct answer, and that is when Congress, and also signed into law by FDR, is when that fourth Thursday of each November became the federal holiday of Thanksgiving. So from 1942 until present day, that's what we observe.
I'm going to have to do some more reading about that because I'm wondering what prompted that to be a staple day.
Good point.
So,
good point.
I'll have to read on.
Okay. And as you know, each and every week we are 100% car focused, and that, as fellow car nuts, that's what we want to do. But this one is less about that and more just about what we're grateful for. But this podcast, first and foremost, has afforded us all kinds of opportunities, and for that I am very, very grateful. I'm grateful to Miss J for her talents each week as she does the opener. That takes time out of her busy week, and I do very much appreciate you doing that.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure.
And to all of you, absolutely. This podcast, as you hear me say time and time again, would not be possible without each of you. In fact, you are what it's all about. We just happen to be in the driver's seat doing the steering, but we take your feedback very seriously. I just received some feedback yesterday. We have friends like Bill Sangre that listen every single week. and provide us with input. And we are so glad to have that. For me, receiving any kind of input when you continue to email us and what we hear from you as fans, that matters. We take it seriously. We would love to continue to hear ideas on what we can bring to you in the way of content and topics to provide value to you, especially as we go into this new year. And I know this has been an unusual year. Ms. Jay and I have had all kinds of travel plans that have had to change and be adapted, and we've had to really cut back on some grand schemes because of that.
Oh, yeah. And, it's easy to focus on the things that you can't get done and all of the things that are going badly or not going your way. But it's important to refocus and to zone in on things that you have going for you. Mm-hmm. And that's quite important to be able to do that and to will yourself back into the positive sphere of things.
Mm-hmm. Well, what are some ways that you, when you hit those walls or those slumps, that you find help bring you back?
Well, try to always take time to focus and recenter and basically motivate myself. I have to find things that are going well. I am grateful to be, I have a job. I have ways to sustain myself. My family is doing well. And that makes me feel wonderful, especially in light of, the constant news about, people are becoming sick and whatever have you. So that helps. I did have a scare earlier this year with, the COVID-19 in my own family circle. But, praying and just being vested in my spiritual practice helps a lot. Mm-hmm. But also, going out into nature and really being able to be with family and, as much as I can, and being out in nature and doing things that I enjoy. So some things that I enjoy doing, well, I'd like to try to get to the amusement park, and they've all been closed with the exception of one, which is very fortunate that I get to go to this park. They're practicing excellent social distancing, and so that makes me happy. But whenever I can't get there, which is quite a lot, I find other things to make myself happy. Just this past weekend, I thought from my childhood, I thought about a really great cartoon I used to enjoy watching. So I went on YouTube and I just Googled or YouTubed it, and I was able to watch a couple of episodes of a favorite cartoon. So the point is that you have to just try to figure out what will bring a smile to your face. Mm-hmm. And sometimes nostalgia will do that for you.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. No, agreed. I think that's great. And thank you for sharing that. And I, again, want to reiterate how much I'm thankful for you and your talents, and to Sam Faringer and Lou Giannakopoulos and Scott Fickus and those that are part of the team. You guys have just, again, given week after week after week, and that means a lot. And I think a lot of what you shared makes a lot of my faith. Getting some exercise, getting out into the woods, those types of things are great ways to re-energize, and even getting behind the wheel of the Corvette now that it's getting to be really cold and it's getting ready to be winterized and put away for the next 4 or 5 months. I'll miss that. But yes, we all need to find those elements. And I certainly want to thank, with all of this, the people that helped put the Courage Virtual Car Show together. And as you were part of that too, Miss J, had it not been for the pandemic, there would have really been no genesis behind creating a virtual car show. And we all missed that, especially back in the March, April, May, June timeframe, where things were really locked down. It gave us a chance to really confer and hang out with people all over the globe. And we had people from Europe and Asia joining in the middle of the night, and that was pretty remarkable. But in fact, we met some incredible people and still have them as fans of the show and listeners that normally would not have even been part of that whole opportunity. That is a silver lining in all this. And for me too, I want to say thank you to our friends at Carlisle Events, from Lance Miller, Bill Miller too, Mike Garland, the entire crew. Thank you for being so supportive and welcoming us to all the shows, and we are proud to be a market affiliate. To Porsche Mechanicsburg for their prior sponsorship in the second half of this year. Our extended family at the AACA Museum in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Please check out the great work that Jeff Bleemeister and others are doing there. Bill Sangri is definitely involved, and his it's got a Hemi exhibit that's still up, will be for several months yet. You've probably heard that episode. So please continue to support organizations like the AACA as they are struggling to keep things going in light of a very different world right now, economically and otherwise. But I just think, too, that for anyone that listens to this show, you obviously have an electronic device. You have access to the internet. You most likely have a roof over your head and a warm place to sleep tonight. And I keep reminding myself that there are so many human beings, fellow humans all over the world that don't have those things and may not even have clean water to drink and safety from the elements. So just when we think we have it bad because we can't go out every night and spend time in restaurants and what have you, those aren't really the world's worst problems compared to what others have to face.
Absolutely.
Not coming across as preachy, but it really kind of, it's sobering to stop and think what we do have compared to many who have none of the basics.
Yeah, you have to, that's just something that keeps me motivated too, is, of course, I'm not languishing in the downfalls of others or the misfortune of others, but I have to pause and consider, well, if I think I have it bad, there are others who have it worse. For sure. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. Well, Miss J, thank you for riding along shotgun today. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with our big family of Cars of Carlisle members? Anything at all?
Just have a safe, happy Thanksgiving. Think about what's important to you. And of course, we know at this point in time, family is very important. It's very different. It's very tough to go through a holiday season where you can't be with family, but it just forces you to think about and find other innovative ways to communicate. I think that something that we're going to do in my family is, which is at first we've never done, is going to be to have a time that we can get together with our other family members from wherever they live and just have a huge group Zoom meeting. And it's going to be, we're organizing it, and it's going to be something to look forward to. I'm really looking forward to being able to see people that I've not seen in a while, and I'm grateful. So here's a silver lining, that we do have technology that can bring us together when we can't physically be together.
Yeah, if this has happened back in 1985, 1990, what have you, it would have been a much different situation.
Absolutely, much different.
At best, we would have been able to call each other on the rotary phone, but that's about it.
Yeah. So
good point. And to the community, you hear me say all the time, Cubers, and for those that are new to this podcast, Cubers, to me, it's the alliteration of the Cars of Carlisle community, the car culture community. You can see that, you can hear the 3 C's. So to me, it was C cubed, or to the third power, or Cubers. We're all part of that car community. So I really appreciate you listening each and every week. Come back next week. We're going to be talking with Mike Hoos of Hoos Designs. He's here in the South Central Pennsylvania area, and a young guy who is doing some really incredible builds and projects. You'll be excited to hear more about that. And we have some exciting guests on the board here in the studio coming up in the weeks to come. And 2021 is going to be, in my mind, a better year with a lot more content from us. So we certainly appreciate you. We're thankful for you and thankful for this podcast. So until next week, we'll say, drive well,
be well,
take care.